Right, so let's do this. Morning world. Right, let's do it. Oh, there it is. Spot the near mistake. Those are eye gel things for the eyeballs. Primer. Nearly bung that on my face instead. I was like, oh fuck. Right. Yeah, I've not had a lot of sleep, I'm going to be honest. I haven't. It probably will show that. Alright, let's put this on. So this is the Jacker Black primer. I do like this. It's very, very nice. Okay. Alright. Let me sort my mirror out. It's a bit better. I can see now. Right. Oh, dear me. Right. Let's get this on the go. And foundation when I can find it. There. Let's bung this on. Right. Right. That's that put on, sort of. And then I get the sponge. The brush even. I don't know why I said sponge, because I don't use a sponge to apply my makeup. I don't like the sponge, but I still called it a sponge. Almost makes me think of the film Liar Liar when he's like, the pen, the colour in my hand is, and he's trying to say red, and it's royal blue. It's a bit like me with my fibro head. Because it's not a sponge, it's a brush. I need a coffee. Right. In a minute I may have to pause this and go make a quick coffee. Right. So, next step, this bad boy, as always. I quite like this. The Revolution Highlight to the Moon palette. It is pretty cool. Right. So, I only got the dark colour left, so that's what I'm using. Just means a bit less of it. I use my big brush to smooth it all out and blend it in and all that jazz. I know it looks very, oh my god. But honestly, I'll blend it out in a minute. Right, let's use The big one. To blend. Sorry, cats, you're gonna have to wait a minute. We're waiting for the kitchen. Son's in there making pancakes. This brush is from Elf and I really, really like it. I need some brushes, new ones. I'll get around to it eventually, like everything else. At the minute, it's called making do with what you got. So I'm going to use Angel Face. This one here. Right. That's me highlighted and looking all glowy. Right. Next bit onto the blush. Get a coffee in a sec. I really need coffee in my life. Oh, it's still making pancakes. How many is he making? Just wait. You're moaning at me because you want food. I can't make you any food because the kitchen's occupied. I know, but you gotta wait. You gotta wait. I want a nice cup of coffee as well. We'll wait. We'll wait your turn. You're not jumping at me, look. Hey? No, you can't climb on there. No, come on. I want this chair to sort of not have cat claws on it. Flippin' heck. Right. I think the kitchen's now free. I think so. Right. Okay. Eyeshadow. Are we even? I hope so. Look about right to me. That'll do. Right. Let me pause this. I'll be back in a sec. I need caffeine. Okay. I have coffee. Hey. Coffee, cats have been fed. So all is good in the hood. Right. I'm gonna get some face makeup on. So let's begin, shall we? I don't know what the hell to wear today. No idea. I never have a plan. It's always the same. I did order some an eyeshadow palette from Spoiled Lips last night. I just thought get one. Yeah, I really needed. I need to get some new stuff as soon as we hit, I think, the middle of November. That's when it's like a year for me. Yeah. Of wearing makeup. Hey. Can't imagine not wearing it anymore. Tell you. Every day I put makeup on, even if I've woke up really, really late, I still am putting makeup on. It looks really heavy at the minute, but it will be simmered down when I put other stuff to it. And if it doesn't, I'll scream. No, it should be okay. I hope. Right. Yeah. Hopefully it'll tone down in a minute. I'm like, shit. Shit. Right. Okay, so I've got a bit of black on. Always used to be frightened of black eyeshadows. To think, what the hell do you use that for? But I use it now an awful lot in my looks. It's just fabulous. Bit of white. Just to help with the rest of it. With the colour. Yeah, I've got a palette coming from Spoiled Lips. I have got their travel palettes. They have said on their website that they're vegan and cruelty free, so I bloody hope so. You know, I'm always worried about being lied to. I am. I'm terrible for it. It really worries me. But hey. Okay. I like a nice contrasting colour. Something gorgeous and fun. I don't want to do yellow again. I want to try something else. Orange is screaming at me today. What? You've been fed? Orange or blue? Orange. Where the chuff nut? Oh dear. So I'm going to pop it on and blend it in, and hopefully it'll take off some of the black as it fades the other way. It'll do. I'm far from finished, so have faith. You've got more faith than me. I'm like, shit. Yeah, I like Spoiled Lips, and their postage from the US is quite cool. It's the cheapest one there is, put it that way. Some are extortionate prices, and I'm like, no, I'm not paying that. I know a few people in the makeup world, and they're like, please buy from us, and I'm like, prices are too expensive. Even when I've actually Yeah, do a bit of green as well on the ends, just to tone it down a touch. But yeah, even when they've reduced me down the posting packaging and given me like a bit of a code, I still think it's too expensive. I can't afford that. I am like, no thank you. I've done it with a company. I think the person selling the makeup isn't too impressed that I refused to pay what I was charged. And I'm thinking, it's not your money. Tough. It's too expensive. So, there we go. Right. So, we've got orange, black, green. Bit of green going under the eyeballs, just to oomph it up. We'll get there in a minute. She says, what did I have on this? Black. Shit, I don't want to add any more to that. There we go. Right, I need a cute shimmer in the middle now, just to tie this all together. I do. So let's go for it. Let's have mermaid, or shall I have so wavy? Mermaid, I think. It's a green. It's a green, I'll go with this. It's like a shimmery green. Pearlescent green. I know what I mean. Oh, dear me. I've got shopping coming later from Tesco's. I've got to nip out. I've got to go and get the food for the cats. But yeah, I'm not very happy because I was finalising the order as I was trying to watch that Jeffrey Dahmer thing on Netflix. And it wouldn't let me clock out. It wouldn't let me end what I'd put in. So it was like saying that the time was up. I was like, great. So I've ended up, because it kept circling and circling and it wouldn't let me, then it wouldn't, said I was past the time and I was just finishing off. Which I was not impressed about. So what I originally pressed to order is what I've got. And some of the bits weren't available. So, yeah, some of the bits weren't available. So I've ended up with what I've got. Never mind. Just a bit miff, that's all, because some of it I wanted a few extra bits and pieces and bits taken out to make it a bit cheaper. But never mind. Right, so I've got some pearly shimmer calm. on. I know you can't see it too good because I need lights. I've got lights, but unfortunately I've got no plugs near this way, so it's extension cables galore if I want one. What joys. So I'm hoping you can see it okay. I want something to eat as well in a minute. I'm friggin' hungry. Got my care lady coming later. So I've got to do her list of jobs for today. And then I'm hoping to have her back on Saturday to come and do me a few jobs again. But we'll see. Depends whether I need her or not. Let's get the glitter on a liner, I think. Hey. You and your Shrek-like burp.
Nothing wrong with this. No, I'm going.
Okay. See you later. You're not at Beaconside at all, are you, today?
No.
No, because your med is ready to be collected.
I'm only there tomorrow, but I'm only there for like an hour. Because I've got to leave at like 11:15 for rugby, so.
Well, I can't get your tablets. Oh dear. Yeah. My son is epileptic. He had a seizure. I think it was on the weekend. Can't remember now, but he had one. And the epilepsy team want him to up his dose, but they also want to now see him in November. We have to go to another hospital, which is a bit of a drive and a bit of a ball ache to get to. I'm really not impressed, because the time is not really a time that's any good for me. But I've got to drive him down. And at the minute, I'm waiting to have my power chair adjusted. I'm waiting to have the bracket for the car that hoists it into the vehicle taken off an old one. The wheels are screwed on it, and put on this one, which I'm sitting on now, which is my newer one. It's just expense at the moment. I'm waiting for the appointment. Yeah, this is a bit of eyeliner from Collection. And I can't get. He's going to have to go and get them from the pharmacy, which is fine. If I had my power chair able to get in the car, he could, I could go and get them myself for him, because he needs to be taking the new dose. But until I can't get the meds, they might not be ready anyway. Last time I had a right kerfuffle because it's like the doctor, the epilepsy doctor has got to send it to the pharmacy. The pharmacy have then got to, oh no, the epilepsy doctor will send it to the prescription to my doctors to be made, the instruction to be made, and then it gets passed from my doctors to the pharmacy to be made up. And the pain in the arse about it is how often it's like doing Chinese whispers. When it gets to the end person, the amount of times I've gone to the doctors to pick up a prescription for him and it's not ready. And then I've had to phone up the epilepsy team to say, where is it? There's the slow way and the long way, and it always seems to come through the long way. But then they'll be screaming that he needs these meds inside him now. Then I'm thinking, well, yeah. Oh. And it's one of those hospitals we've got to go to that I totally not really dread. Although it is a straight run. But it's just remembering how to bloody get to it. I always have a brain fart with it. I can never remember. I get really stressed out. But hopefully it'll be alright. Because he's got to come with me anyway. For his appointment. Oh yeah, it's just a pain in the arse. It's annoying because we've got a hospital not far away, you know, in my hometown. And appointments are never for that bloody hospital. It's always for somewhere a bit of a drive to. Well, more than a bit of a drive to. So it's a pain. His last appointments were at our hospital. And now it's like, gotta go all the way down there again. So I just dread it, and I just don't know how my feet and legs are going to be on the day for driving him down. It's just one thing after another. I mean, I've got a hospital appointment soon. That is a drive away, and I'm not looking forward to that because I just don't know how I'm going to feel. Anyway, that's the eyes done. It just feels like this one's not quite right. I think it's just because of the light at the moment, it's shining on it. There we are. That'll do. It just looks with the light like as if I've missed a gap, but I haven't. Don't know. I don't want to mess with it too much. Don't. Oh, I'm in such a stress. I hate driving big distances with hospital appointments and stuff. What's classed as bigger driving is enough for me. It's like, yeah, it's about 40 minutes away. And it's a pain, and I can't be doing with it. and it just makes me so nervous and anxious, and I just like, and I just don't know how I'm going to feel on the actual day of driving, you know, and when it's not your appointment, it's even worse. That's how I feel anyway. I always think you can't see much of the orange. I mean, it's there, you can physically see it, but I'm still like thinking, can you see the orange? Can you see it? Is it there? Is it enough? I don't know. But anyway, I do get nervous. It's like hospital appointments for him, it's a lot. And I'm so just mithered at the minute. The letter's just appeared for the hospital. I just ate it. The thought of having to drive quite a way away for me is enough. I'm going to put on this, and then I'm going to put Humble on over the top from Lime Life. It is Humble, yeah. It's gorgeous. I really like this. It's vegan and cruelty free. Some of their stuff is and some is not. All of it is cruelty free. This pink has got to be my favourite. I like it. I wear it a lot, and there's another one as well which they have done in the full size now, from the travel minis, and I keep thinking, yep, I'm going to get some more. I'm just popping Humble on over the top from Lime Life. It's gorge. Very pretty. Just makes it a bit more moisturised. I do like it. Pop my goggles on a sec. There we go. Today's look. Don't know what wig I'm going to wear. I've ordered another one for myself for my birthday money. I was like, yes. What's she called? Midori. So she's dark green and black and absolutely beautiful and got a nice length to her. And I'm like, yeah, nice. Very, very gorgeous. I don't know what to wear today. You know when you have one of them days where it's like, I've no idea what I'm going to wear on my head, but I shall figure it out as I go along. I don't know whether to go short or go long. I wore long yesterday. Maybe I'll go short today. So this one is called Montana from Cashie's Head Shop. I do want to get Foxy or Highland Girl. I just fancy a gingery look. I've got Spicy, which is beautiful. Mixed Emotions is also gorgeous from her website. Yeah, I don't know. I just fancy a gingery coloured wig. I just fancy a change. Right, this will do for the moment. I'm going to have to nip out and get the cats some odds and sods. And when I come back, I'll need to phone the pharmacy up and just check that the extra bit of medication has been ordered in on his prescription so it can get picked up. I tell you, him and his epilepsy absolutely freaks me out. Most of his seizures have happened at home. You never stop. They say, oh, you never stop worrying about your kids even when they're grown up, and it's true. And I just find now that he's like almost 19, for me, it's like a huge, huge worry. Because when they're little, you know, they're never away from you. You know, you go out somewhere, they're with you, or they're with somebody else whilst you're doing what you need doing. Yeah, it is. It's a huge, huge stress. You know, he goes out. I don't stop him from leading a normal life. I think because of me and my health conditions, I just think, well, I can't physically be with you. I mean, he wouldn't want me tagging around with him everywhere anyway. But it is a worry, you know. He goes off to college. He's had seizures in the morning. He's had seizures in the afternoon. I've had a phone call from the gym to say that he was on the bench press doing weights and he went into a fit and the bar come down on his face. I mean, luckily didn't knock him out, didn't take his bloody teeth out or anything. Someone saw him going into the seizure and caught the bar as much as could be because it's a weight. And then he's had them happen in the evening. He's had them when he's come home from college. He's had them when he's come home from his little job that he does. He's had them when he's come back from the gym. There is no pattern. There is no sort of set time. You can't really turn around and say, because I know his epilepsy nurse is like, oh, he shouldn't be working in the early hours of the morning. And I'm like thinking, do you know what? He's had seizures happen in the daytime. You can't pinpoint a precise time as to when the seizures are going to happen. It just happens. And a mum of a son with epilepsy who's an adult now, it's really, really hard because the medical side of things look at him and it's like they want him to be asking the questions and things. I still come with him for the appointments, but it's coming to the point of like where he's got to go in and talk to the medics and, you know, really give some input from him. But the age that he's at, I've got a hair that's tickling my lip and it's driving me crackers because I can't find it. The age that he is really, really hard because they just grunt, you know, or they don't say anything, they don't ask questions, they don't. And it becomes really, really tough. And I mean really, really tough. And you just don't know. It's really hard. And it's like when he's late coming back from work, he's late. Daytime, I tend to not worry so much. I think because it's daytime, and if he goes into a fit, say he's walking home from somewhere, at least he would be seen. Nighttime, it really freaks me out because I just don't know who's about. And the thought of him, people possibly thinking that he's somebody that's drunk or on drugs and just ignoring him really frightens me. He's had them when he's been at rugby training. He's had them, you know, all sorts of different moments, times of the day. There is no set thing and it does scare me. He's what's called as tonic-clonic epileptic, so the grand mal seizures, where he convulses. It does, it freaks me out. I mean, when he goes out with friends, I'm relieved because at least they're all together, and generally he's in a car. They tend to go out, boy racer lads, they just go to a car park and sit and chat and listen to music, and then they go home. So there's that side of things, but hey, it's scary. He's, when he's coming home, there's always that worry of what if, and there's a lady that I follow on YouTube. I've not told him this, but yeah, there's a lady that I follow on YouTube called The Honest Vocal Coach. She watches, I mean, she's a vocal coach, obviously, because that's what she's called, but she follows, she'll watch, somebody doing a live vocal, and she'll criticise and give her honest opinion on how they sound, and whether it's auto cue used, like electronic backing, whether it's her voice. But yeah, she is fantastic, and all her content at the minute is all higgledy-piggledy, and I was like, what? I ain't watched her for a while, and I thought, oh, I'll have a look, because a video popped up on my things to watch, and I thought, oh, okay, I'll have a look. This looks a bit different to the norm. And then it was like mentioning epilepsy. She had a daughter, as I went through past videos, a daughter called Ellie, who was 23, and she sometimes would appear in the videos with her mum. They both give opinions and stuff and have a laugh and joke. And anyway, she said that she's epileptic. She had seizures, and then the day of her birthday, they went out for a bite to eat or something, and yeah, she had a seizure. And she wanted to go to Alton Towers, and it was like hit and miss as to whether they were going to go, but it was booked for the Wednesday. So this was on the weekend she had the seizure. Then she decided to phone her the next day to see if she was okay. And she says she always answered her phone, even if she was like dead to the world. She always managed to answer her phone, and her phone rang and rang and rang, and she didn't like it. So she went round. She always told her daughter not to leave the keys in the lock, but they were in the lock, but not enough to cause her to stop her from coming in. And she shouted and shouted. I didn't hear her around moving or anything, and thought, well, maybe she's gone out. But then she said, if she's gone out, she wouldn't have left her keys. So anyway, she looked in a few other rooms, and there she found her on the floor. She was dead. She says, I'm not going to go into how I found her and what she was like and all the rest of it. She says, no, I can't do that. It was July when it happened, and we're in October now, so it's still very fresh, very raw. But she basically had a seizure, and apparently grand mal seizures, because it's like when they're coming out of the seizure, their breathing goes really, really heavy, like like that. And my son's exactly the same as that. And it's like sometimes the breathing can labour the brain activity and stops oxygen from going to the brain. And it's the coming out of the seizure that is. And there's a lad from the Disney Channel, an actor that died a couple of years ago now. He had tonic-clonic epilepsy, died from the same thing. And it's the breathing, the heavy breathing and coming out of it, and whether the body can stop breathing and delay breathing for a few seconds, which can make all the difference to the brain activity. But anyway, she passed away. So she was sort of making awareness on this, and it does scare me, because I just don't know. I mean, every time I hear a bang at home, if he's in his bedroom, I hear a bang, I'm always like, are you okay? And he goes, yeah. Typical lad response, yeah. The grunt. But when he doesn't respond, that freaks me out. And sometimes I'm in my bedroom and I've heard rumblings, and suddenly I know that he's going into a fit and he's fitting. Yeah. Oh God, I need the toilet. I'm really sorry. I'm going to have to pause this again. That's better. Sorry. I had very bad stomach issues last night where I was either being sick or the other. So I was very unwell last night for a lot of it. And I managed to grab a few hours sleep. I was being checked for Crohn's and colitis at one point, but the tests couldn't be carried out fully, so nothing ever got said yet, you are or no, you're not. So, but anyway, sorry to throw that bit in. But yeah, it does worry me as a parent of a young adult with epilepsy, because I do worry, what if it happens on the way home from work, coming back from the gym and it's dark? What happens if he's out with friends and I don't think his mates would leave him, but it's always that what if. The time he had a seizure at rugby training, he was really embarrassed, and he says that everybody was really good. But there's always that bit of that feeling of like, yeah, I've just had a seizure and everybody's seen me type of thing. He had an awful lot of time off from school when he was 15 to 16, doing his exams, and then COVID came and stop it a minute, I'm coming, yeah. Yeah. And then COVID come along, and it sort of helped actually with his exam results, because it gave him a better exam result than if he actually had just been at school or just missed some of it, you know. But he had severe fatigue issues, and he did a lot of the time he was absent from school. The school weren't very good and very supportive at all. They were absolutely shit, to be honest. And the amount of times I was having arguments with the head teacher and the deputy head, and the head of year and his form teacher, oh, it was just horrendous. It was like they were using me and my health conditions as an excuse to actually, I was teaching him to not go into school because I don't work, because I can't, because of my health issues. And I said, that's a load of rubbish. And because I could argue, because I understand what severe fatigue is like, because I suffer with it myself, you know, when you're dead to the world, when you're fatigued out and you can't wake yourself up and get up and out, it's very, very difficult. And I said, you know, unless you're wanting to trigger a seizure off and have a seizure on the way up to school or waiting for the bus or whatever. He's had a couple where in the morning, when he was trying to get himself up and out for school, and he did have a seizure, trying to get his coat on and shoes on and stuff, and oh, it was awful. And to witness his seizures is horrible the first time, and then after that it's like you go into autopilot as a parent, because it's like you remember, right, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, put him in recovery, and I don't phone an ambulance unless it's absolutely necessary. But this time was the first time I have not phoned an ambulance, and it was like struggling to get to him. It was like 2:30 in the morning, and a big, big worry. His medication now is going to be on the max of what they could give for with lamotrigine, of 220 at night and 200 in the morning. She says, we'll see how that goes. But I think that his medication needs tweaking to a higher dose with a combination of something else. Because I see a lot of people that have tonic-clonic epilepsy, and they're on like 400 in the morning and 400 at night. And when I was a kid and I used to just pass out, I was on 400 in the morning and 400 at night. So his dosage is still very low, in my opinion. But we'll see. He's got an appointment in November to go and see the neurologist, and hopefully have a bit more of an MOT and see what's what. We'll see. yeah, it just worries me so much with my son and everything. I mean, you can get these epilepsy watches, and I'm like thinking, are they any good? And then people have said that it's got to be near your device. There's pros and cons to everything. Yeah, it is a worry. But hey ho. Yeah, it is a worry. It just freaked me out. But anyhow, I'm going to get off because I want to get dressed, nip out quickly before Tesco's arrives. And before I know it, my care lady will be here to come and give me a hand with a few things. Yep, so I shall say thanks for watching, and until next time, bye.